What's up, everyone? I am the KnK, and this is my Quickie review for the final season, Season 5 of the Twilight Zone. This video is brought to you by Loot Crate. Do you like cool mystery boxes that are full of cool stuff? Go to lootcrate.com/KnK and put KnK in the coupon code to receive 10% off your order. It helps you help me help you help me. Remember, lootcrate.com/KnK, coupon code KnK. Now to our video. I'm kinda sad, because after spending practically half the year watching this series, I'm done. Wow. I mean, granted, everyone had it for 5 years when it originally aired, but so watching 5 years worth of material in 6 months is great and all, and I loved it, but there's still kind of that like, wow, it's over. I'm done. So Season 5 of the Twilight Zone has come and gone. I have to say it was a much better improvement over the 4th season. It was a nice return to form with being back to 30-minute episodes. Stories didn't feel dragged out. Mostly there were a couple ones. Overall, I had a great time with this season. Some of them, again, as I always go through the episodes on the discs, let's see, I really have to say Nightmare in 20,000 Feet was phenomenal. That is without a doubt the only episode in the entire season that truly wowed me, where I was like, oh my god, this is so good. In fact, now I'm kind of wondering, I don't think I actually watched this version of that story, because this version was really intense and had me gripped on the edge of my seat the entire episode. When I watched it years and years ago, I was kind of like, yeah, it was good, but not that great. So now I'm wondering if it wasn't this version of that story I had seen, but a different version. I think the Twilight Zone movie did an adaptation of it with John Lithgow. That might be what I was thinking of, but I don't know. Maybe I saw an adaptation of it in the 80s series. Not sure. Whatever the case, I was wowed by that episode. That was the best episode of the season. Anyway, A Kind of Stopwatch was really fun. The Last Night of a Jockey was one of my least favorite episodes of this season. I found that one to be borderline boring, and that one did feel like it dragged out a lot, even though it was only a 30-minute episode. The Living Doll was, of course, wonderful, and now that one I do know for sure I had seen before. Nothing new in that one, but it was still a great episode nonetheless. Uncle Simon was another one that kind of was like, which was about a uncle who dies, and he has his body replaced with a robot. It was Probe 7 over and out was pretty cool. Guy lands on a mysterious planet and stuff happens. He meets a girl. It was kind of like 2, but on another world. I really enjoyed. The 7th is made up of phantoms with the Custer's Last Stand stuff going on. Let's see, 90 Years Without Slumbering, which was about this old man who believed the moment the clock stopped working he would die. That was not that great of an episode. You Drive was really good with this guy that runs over someone, and it kind of made me think of the Telltale Heart, but with a car. The Long Morrow and the Self-Improvement of Salvador Ross were kind of not that great episodes. The problem with Salvador Ross is that he was just an unlikable character that I didn't give a damn about what happened to him. I didn't believe he was legitimately trying to make himself better. He was just doing all this out of selfishness. Night Call was a really intense episode. Spur of the Moment was interesting. Oh, From Agnes with Love was awful. Probably my least favorite episode the entire season. Well, actually, no, I think The Last Night of a Jockey would be my least favorite episode, but From Agnes with Love was pretty awful. Just way too silly for its own good. It just didn't mix very well. I don't know. The comedy episodes sometimes seem like they're forced in when there's all these serious episodes. Maybe it worked better when people were watching it week by week, so that the comedy episodes didn't seem like off, but as is, when you're binging, they just seem out of place. There's still some enjoyable ones throughout the series, just there's also a couple of stinkers. An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge was outstanding, which is actually a French short film they just put into a Twilight Zone episode. Either way, it was very creative, as was Queen of the Nile, though I was hoping for a little bit more Egyptian. What's in the Box? The Masks was pretty good. Another superb episode was I Am the Night, Color Me Black, where the town finds himself engulfed in darkness even though it's morning, so 7 a.m. comes along, there's no sunlight. 9 a.m. comes along, there's no sunlight. And then a little bit later, it just keeps getting darker and darker. That was so such a great episode. Caesar and Me was interesting because it had the dummy from The Dummy in it again. So it was kind of unique to see a sequel episode, which was weird because you'd think they would have advertised it as a sequel story. But either way, that one was quite good too. Worked really well. The Jeopardy room was kind of intense as well, with this Russian defector who's in this room where there's a bomb somewhere. Stopover in a Quiet Town was also another really, really nice and intense episode. Had you wondering what was going to happen. You're like, oh, are they doing this? Is it that? Is it that? Oh, I bet it's that. A couple more decent ones. The Braid Center Whipples. What was interesting about that one is how it's still relevant even today. A douchebag CEO has decided to replace his staff with computers and keeps getting more and more, buying more computers to replace more staff. The Fear was a decent one. Then we have the series ended on one called The Bewitching Pool. That one was not so good for the series finale, as it were. The worst part is that the acting was pretty bad and the dialogue did not match the actors. I guess they had to redub this episode because the dialogue was horrible from wind noise or whatever, but it sounded awful because like the little girl was not voiced by a little girl. She was voiced by Talkie Tina's actress and it didn't sound like her voice. It just sounded like someone impersonating her. It was distracting, and then you had the father who was just like, oh no, my kids have disappeared. That's inconvenient. But you know what? Despite my issues with Season 5 and Season 4, overall this show was still amazing. I enjoyed watching it. I am so glad I finally sat down to watch this entire series. It was well worth it, especially because it seems like most movies ever since the Twilight Zone have pretty much just ripped off the Twilight Zone. TV shows have ripped off the Twilight Zone. Was there ever an original plot in their heads at all after the original Twilight Zone? I don't know, but it sure doesn't seem like it, since everything I'm like, hey, that's like that, and hey, oh no. Overall, one of the greatest TV series ever made. I am putting it right up there with Tales from the Crypt and Breaking Bad. Such a good series. If you have never watched the original Twilight Zone, check it out. I am giving Season 5 a 3 out of 5, and I am going to give the series as a whole a 5 out of 5. No matter how much negatives there were with the last two seasons, it is without a doubt just a near perfect series. And with that said, that brings my reviews to the Twilight Zone to an end, which is sad. But you know what? Works out perfectly finishing this off today, because tomorrow we're going to be driving out to Tucson, and let's just hope that we do not get lost in the Twilight Zone on our way. What did you think of Twilight Zone's 5th season? Most of you have pretty much said what you thought of the series as a whole in the comments. Did you like the 5th season? What's your favorite episode? What's your favorite episode of the entire series? I'm going to be doing a video on my top 10 for October's Halloween month. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, click the bell notification. If you want to support me, you can support me on Patreon at Kaiju no Kami. Say hi on Twitter at Kaiju no Kami. Facebook Kaiju no Kami. Until next time, when I bring in the 80s series, bye.